What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Jason Schreier's article probably one last time. I've been watching the Jeff Ross live stream when he was on the show with David Jaffe, and I really love it. I think if you haven't watched it yet, definitely go. I haven't actually finished it. I'm almost done. It's a very, very long live stream, but I think it's a really awesome just watch for pretty much anybody that's into that kind of like game development, and these two are very, very smart guys who have been in the industry a very, very long time. And a couple things were brought up, in terms of Jason Schreier. There's been some Twitter wars going on with Jason Schreier and other people, so I want to kind of clarify where I stand on things, what I believe, what I don't believe, and I want to talk about some of the things that Jeff Ross, and by the way, he was the director. Him and Josh Gavin were the two people that were basically, I mean, obviously, there's so many more people behind it, but they were the two heads, okay, the game directors of Days Gone, okay, so they would know the situation. Now, they've been gone for a little while, so even Jeff Ross has been gone for a while, but he would know the situation a lot better than Jason Schreier even would, even with him interviewing as many people as he did. So as always with these kinds of videos, make sure you guys are subscribed. Make sure you guys have the bell icon turned on if you're new to the channel, right, to keep up on all this stuff. I do, and I still am going to do a video on Sean Layden. I definitely want to talk about the structuring and the leadership of Sony, and so I'm trying to do a video on that later on in the week. If you guys want to support any of the other social media stuff I'm on, I have a second channel, Twitch, Discord, Twitter, all that stuff. Link for it is in the description below. All right, and I want to say this early on. I've said this before in terms of Jason Schreier. I don't like him as a person, and that is probably a very, I get it. That's a very like brash thing, or just kind of a even mean thing, even to just kind of throw out there. There's just a lot of things with him as a person that I'm not a big fan of. I have always supported his work. I've always been on his side of like, the right for him to do the things that he does, and I think he does a really good job at it. And I believe way more than I don't believe of his work. And I also believe him way more than I believe most other people that are supposed, game leakers, okay? Now, there's a reason why he's the biggest at his job. It also does have to do with sometimes with the politics of it. You don't get to that position by being the most morally perfect person on planet Earth. That's literally impossible, and obviously, we're talking about game media, which is just a garbage entity in general. And you have him who does all sorts of stuff, and that kind of gets combined with, he talks behind people's backs quite often. He's done that with certain YouTube channels. I won't name the specific ones just in case people, just in case I shouldn't say it out loud, but he's talked about fans of YouTube channels before, and then he's gone on the YouTube channels, supported them, and then he's left, and he's talked bad about the fans literally 5 minutes after. So he does some very sketchy, stupid stuff. He did that even with Jeff Ross right now. As I'm speaking, there's talk even on Reset. Now he's a big supporter and he's a big guy on Reset Era. I hate that website, but that's just personal. That's just me, okay? But even on Reset Era, he has talked right now, kind of going against Jeff Ross because there's been some miscommunication seemingly going on between the article and what Jeff Ross was saying and all that stuff. So here's the deal. As I said earlier today, even I made a video earlier today, I do, for the most part, believe that article. What I think, especially after listening to Jeff Ross, because he sees things differently. I mean, he did almost, he got as close as he could to saying that article is correct, because he even said after the interview with David Jaffe, Jason Schreier is a good journalist, and he has the ability to basically be more honest than he's allowed to be, because he can't, talk because of all these NDAs. However, and I do blame the NDAs, right, the non-disclosure agreements, because he's not allowed to say certain things. His messages have been all over the place. Sometimes he makes it sound like Days Gone 2 still is happening. Sometimes he makes it sound like it's not. Sometimes he makes it sound like there's actually quite a few things in the article that are not true. Specifically, the whole them helping Naughty Dog. He never saw it as big of a deal as Jason Schreier made it seem in the article, and that's something that I want to save right here, and we'll talk about this in a few more minutes in the video. He's talking about Jim Ryan, how he does like the guy, how he thinks he's a lot smarter, and he's not into games because he's not, I guess, like a classified gamer, okay, but he's more game savvy than people give him credit for, which, by the way, that is just his opinion, and then our opinions as fans could be completely different, and that's totally cool. However, when you do work for one of the major PlayStation studios, and you're one of the heads of that PlayStation studio, that opinion I think does matter. The fact that they seemingly, when they look at him or when they look at Herman, right, they see these are actually very smart guys who they don't necessarily get as much credit as they deserve because people kind of look down on them, which, again, that's their opinion versus ours. I am not a Jim Ryan fan whatsoever. I think I'm not a Jim Ryan fan in comparison to Sean Layden and even if you want to go back further than him, I actually kind of liked Jack Tretton. I don't know what the general opinion is on him. Obviously, Shuhei had a different job position and all. I think what they've done with him has not been a very good idea, right? So, these are kind of the things that I think versus what, some of them think, but it's important to keep that in perspective. I think the biggest thing that's kind of come out of this is it really does seem like Days Gone 2 isn't happening. It also seems like it's very possible Days Gone 2 could still happen. This is not a thing that is guaranteed forever to never be, picked back up. Does it suck that they would pivot so quickly from Days Gone to just a brand new IP? Yes. Have I seen people online trying to make the best out of the situation, saying like, well, they don't let Days Gone 2 happen, but let's look at the positives. They've literally greenlit another brand new, built from the ground up IP. Like, yeah, that's good. It goes back to my thing earlier where it's like, well, I just hope that they started working on it a while ago. There is rumors that they started working on it as early as September of 2019. So we're approaching like a year and a half that's happened. I guess that's good, but still that means we're probably like another at least 2 years out of whatever that game is. So that does, I would say, suck because I think you could have had it done faster if you did Days Gone 2. So, I mean, the general thing is I think a lot of the article was right. I think the basic facts, like what happened, people working on Uncharted, people working on The Last of Us' multiplayer, them working on a new IP, Sony saying no to the pitch for Days Gone, like those factual things I think are true. I think the narrative that was, now whether it was like planned or not, but just the agenda that Jason Schreier does, and again, I like his ability to get down to these issues. At the same time, there is no doubt about it, and it's the case with literally left-leaning, right-leaning, anything, whether it's politics, whether it's gaming, journalism, there is always a slant. They're always, depending on who it is, they're always trying to make the article seem a certain way, okay? That's not, Jason Schreier's not an exception. It's not like he's some holy child. And I should have mentioned this, in past videos, and maybe you guys are thinking, well, Alex is pretty, back and forth on it. No, I mean, like, I do believe it. I do think that there is probably mismanagement of Sony Studios, but it's important to note that Jason Schreier does frame things certain ways, okay? He's very against crunch culture, which I know a lot of people are also in support of. I think crunch is sometimes necessary. It depends on the situation. And crunch, getting rid of it altogether, which is some sort of like huge liberal movement that they're trying to do in the gaming industry, is never going to happen and literally is impossible and actually would probably hurt more than it would help, okay? So like things like that, obviously he's always going to frame things as anti that, okay? Like if he can. So something like this, at the end of the day, he does this article, and then, remember, even like on Friday, he tweeted right after, and he said, everybody's talking, and this is like part of the reasons why I don't like him. He talks about how, everybody's talking about Days Gone 2, but the biggest point of this article, the biggest reason I wrote this article is talking about the people who quit, the people who lost their jobs, stuff like that. It's like, all right, that is specifically for Twitter brownie points. Anybody who likes that stuff or thinks that that's actually what he is, cheap. They cannot think logically, or they cannot think by themselves, okay? Because that's a load of BS, okay? Now, I don't swear on this channel, but that's complete garbage, all right? If you think that Jason Schreier works at Bloomberg, okay, in a gaming division, and he does this stuff, and he gets paid a lot of money, and you think he did that article, and you think that the clicks that article was getting is for people to feel sorry for people who left their job. Now, yes, that is actually a byproduct of it. I mean, I reached out to Jeff Ross. He liked some of my tweets. Things like that, like talking to those kind of people. Like, that is a good byproduct where it's like, hey, let's support these people. Let's remember what these people did in a positive way. But if you think that was the primary focus of the article, you're out of your mind, okay? That's not the focus was Days Gone 2. The focus was Sony. Literally, the title was the whole idea of Sony putting things into their biggest games and leaving other games behind. Yes, that does eventually lead into them losing people because of creative freedoms and stuff like that. But that was the title. If the point of the article is talking about people who quit their jobs, that would be the title, okay, or that would be the central focus. So that kind of stuff is just pathetic. That kind of stuff is just Twitter, brownie points that he's trying to get. But so like that's kind of my situation with this, okay? At the end of the day, I still do believe the article. I believe certain things that happen. Again, like if Jeff Ross, a person who was the head basically, and the head for, when Josh Gavin left, he was the head for like by himself for a little bit. The head of that studio, if he didn't believe that studio was turned into a support team for Naughty Dog, I feel like that's pretty powerful. Now, Jason Schreier took to Reset Era to say that would be laughable, if he said that or if he actually believes that, because it's not true. Yeah, as if Jason Schreier, again, see, this is the push and pull with him, as if Jason Schreier actually does know more than Jeff Ross. See, Jason Schreier can interview as many people as he wants to, but he's not there. He doesn't have the same, thoughts, and he doesn't have the same experiences as somebody like Jeff Ross. So that's the kind of stuff that ticks me off about him. So there's definitely back and forth. It doesn't seem like everything in that article was perfect. I don't think, everything in any article is ever perfect, right? But that's kind of the sense that I get, that the specifics, the facts were actual facts, but then some of the motivations behind it, some of like the behind the scenes, maybe like the drama that he's trying to drum up, maybe not all of that was as true as we took it or as he actually said it. And I get it. We're kind of just pitting him against Jeff Ross. But like I said in the beginning of the video, to not twist my words, it's all opinionated. We're fans. We can think whatever we want. Again, like to the Jim Ryan thing. If we don't like him, yeah, Jeff Ross may like him. And yeah, that's important that people at the heads of these studios like him. But I mean, we're us. We're not him. I don't. At the end of the day, do we care as much about what he thinks as what we think? Probably not. You know what I mean? So that just comes down to opinion. So as I've always said, I don't like Jason Schreier. I do like the stuff he unveils, basically. Not even the way he does it, but I like the stuff he unveils in his reports. But I don't think everything in that article should be, fully believed. So let me know, guys, in the comments below, what do you think? Do you fully believe it? Do you think that there's some sketchy stuff going on? Do you think that, what do you think about Jason Schreier? All that kind of stuff. And there's Twitter wars going on. There's Reset Era wars going on. It's messy, and that's what happens when you talk about, a publisher like, or, basically an entity like Sony, is you're going to drum up this kind of stuff. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. As always, make sure you guys are subscribed. Make sure you guys have the bell icon turned on so you know all these videos go up. Like I said, I will still do like a Sean Layden, Jim Ryan thing later on in the week. Check out all my other social media stuff in the description below, and I'll see you all on the next video.